Got a good turnout today. Be patient with me, folks. I'm just letting people in as they pop up. Welcome.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Still letting people in. Just if you guys can mute yourselves, that would be helpful so we don't have distractions in the background.
Recording.
Still letting folks in. Alan, you're sideways.
Oh, there we go.
I didn't know if you wanted to be sideways.
No.
Okay. I think I've got everybody who was in the room, I've got them listed in. So I just want to go over a few things for Zoom etiquette and for our meeting decorum. So just want to make sure that everyone knows we are recording, and that's so if anybody misses the meeting, has to leave early, or if you want to watch it again, or if your neighbors missed it, this will be on Friday. I shrink it down so it actually fits on the portal, and I will put it under calendar and also under board meeting documents. So to be two places so you can watch it again if you want to. Just remember to mute yourself, and that's just so that we don't have a bunch of distracting noises in the background. So for any of you guys who don't know how to do that, go all the way to the bottom of your screen, all the way to the left. You'll see what looks like an old-timey microphone from recording studios, and it says mute. And so you can click on that and you'll see a red line go through that icon. And so that will be muted. If you want to be on video, it's totally up to you. If you want to be on video, leave that little icon that's next to it that looks like a movie camera, leave that on. But if you click it, you'll be off and it just have your name on there. Also, right next to that little video, if you want to do something fun like I have, you can see this little upside down V, and if you click on it, it shows you different backgrounds. So you can make your background be different if you wanted to do something fun.
Okay, it's just
And so again, just make sure that you're muted so that we're not distracting. I'm just going to make some introductions. Again, make sure you're muted. Going to make some introductions. So you'll see that Christina Peterson is not here today. She last minute had to go to another election board meeting, so she was unable to come. But I am Dawn Wood, the HOA manager here at Oak Tree. And with me today, Steve Bay. It's his first HOA board meeting. He is your homeowner elected board member. And then we also have the declarant board, which is Karen Erickson and Jennifer Mahaffey. And so again, if everybody could stay muted, once we get to the homeowner forum, we can talk. What I would encourage you to do is there is a chat box. You can type in your question in the chat box and I can read them. And we can also, if some folks want to talk, we can unmute you and have you talk during that homeowner forum. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer. I'm going to share my screen so that everyone can see the agenda. Okay. So Jennifer, are you there?
So you shared your screen and it shrunk me down. So just give me a second.
Okay.
You basically took away my
Sorry.
Now I gotta figure out. Here we go. Just got it. That's just what happens on my computer here, because I actually don't need to see that.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome Oak Tree Homeowners Association meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 28th. If we hadn't figured that out yet. So we'll go ahead and formally call the meeting to order at 4:05. We have our April 2021 meeting minutes. Actually, it's basically kind of what that agenda is. I need to get Dawn a new copy because it looks like the file was corrupt And I will have to recreate that for her so we can get those approved and put them on the portal. So between Karen and Steve, would someone like to make a motion to approve said meeting minutes?
I make the motion to approve.
I second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
And Dawn will make sure those
Aye.
get posted on the portal as well. Did someone say something? Okay. Anyway, heard a little noise. Okay, so that leads us right into the treasurer's report, which I believe, Dawn, are you going to share that, or do I read it?
Absolutely, I can read it. I'm just going to
Perfect.
scroll up. So if you're wondering why I'm scrolling up so that we can look at the financial report of the management report. And
Okay.
so the June 2021 financial reports were emailed to the board on 7/13/2021. As of June 30th, 2021, the current account balances are as follows. Total operating account assets, $904,197.02. Checking account, $892,424.79. The delinquency as of June 30th was 0. And then I will be providing CD investment info to the board in August for the board to review. I'm going to scroll back up to our agenda.
Okay. All right, we also are going to be starting our budget season here soon, so we're gonna start working on that. So more to come, obviously, on that one. So let's see, we go into our reports from our committees, and it looks like I saw Cheryl was on the call. It looks like our ACC committee is first. So Cheryl, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Cheryl Nugent here. Just two things from the ACC this go around. The standardizations document, which is found on the portal, it has its own tab. If you scroll down the left side of the portal, available tabs, you'll see ACC standardizations. We are publishing an update to that. That should be available at the beginning of next week. There's good added information in there. We've added the standardization on flagpole mounting. We've clarified some things on fence staining. That's always a great first stop anytime that you are preparing an ACC for submittal, an ACC form for submittal. Oftentimes for the project you might want to be doing, there may be a standardization already available for you. And if there is, we encourage you to use it because those are the things that easily sail through in a really timely manner. And talking about ACCs, you know, it's the summer season. We're all seeking more shade, more heat mitigation. And we have noticed in the community, completely understandable, but if you are looking to install solar shades, pergolas, canopies, shade curtains, any of those items require an ACC to be submitted. So the committee will begin working on some standardizations, mostly having to do with color, trying to keep things neutral for these sorts of applications, for shading applications, shading and screening applications, I should say. So more to come on that. But the thing I'd like to foot stomp in this meeting is please put your ACC in if you are intending to put up a shade material. It will help your neighbors and it will help all of us. So any questions for the ACC? Great.
Great, thanks,
Thank
Cheryl.
you, folks.
Okay, landscape, Craig, I saw you as well. There you are.
I'm here. Hello, everybody. I'm Craig Gable and Chair of the Landscape Committee. First item from our standpoint, I'm soliciting on behalf of the committee. We have 2 members that will be transitioning off in October. So we're looking for new members to join the committee. So any of you that might have interest, reach out to Dawn and let her know, and then we can follow up and invite you to one of our meetings before you would choose to join, so you can sort of see firsthand how the committee functions. We continue as a committee to do our weekly walks with Dawn. The purpose of the walks is to try and identify new issues and to monitor ongoing concerns and work orders that are outstanding. As all of you kind of know, Division 2 is nearly built out, and the common areas will transition to the HOA, but they won't transition until such time that there is a formal walk around and sign off on behalf of us as residents and Taylor Morrison as it. And we've been working with the management of Taylor Morrison, our committee has, to try and create a checklist of the items that are important to us in terms of how the community should look from a landscaping standpoint. Monarch this week is, well, in the next week and a half, they're going to be trimming the retention ponds, retention ponds 1, 2, and 3. Plants and tree replacements will commence by Monarch once the temps begin to settle back into the 70s. As most of you know, new plantings with temperatures 80 or above are easily stressed and run a high risk of dying. This week, Monarch is also mowing the trail buffers, irrigation work orders. If you have any outstanding irrigation work orders, they will be done on Thursday of this week. And each subsequent Thursday, that's the day that the Monarch irrigation technician is on site. We've engaged an arborist, and they've analyzed all the trees in the common areas, including the street, parking strips, and the islands. They are preparing a report for recommended actions. Literally, they are identifying each tree and giving us a report on a tree-by-tree basis. So that will be extremely helpful. Over the next few months, the Landscape Committee is going to be working with management and Monarch regarding the upcoming 2022 budget. I can tell you that included in the 2022 budget will be the barking of Division 2, similar to what was done in Division 1 this year. So right now, it's an alternating year. So 2022 is the year for Division 2. I implore you to please actively engage with the Ovation portal. The Ovation portal has a weekly update from Monarch of the actions that they've taken for the week and what they project they will be doing for the upcoming week. There's also on the portal the annual calendar of Landscape Committee activities and actions by Monarch. I would also like to mention that Monarch is engaged to really provide collective landscape maintenance. For those of you that want some individual treatment relative to your yard, you need to complete an ACC request, which is really important to do. That way we can make sure that anything that's being done in your yard by you, that you fully accept the responsibility for maintaining it yourself and also meeting the ongoing standards of our overall community from a landscaping standpoint. I guess last but not least, I implore you also not to try and reach out directly to members of the committee. we're all volunteers. We don't have authority per se. We function in a capacity where we make recommendations to the board relative to action. So if you have issues relative to landscaping in your yard, I would ask that you reach out to Dawn and or the Nova Solutions team. I think I've covered everything, and reaching out to Dawn and or completing a resident request through the portal. That's all I've got. If anybody has any questions, feel free.
I have a question. Did you consider working with Taylor Morrison on improving quality of the plants they actually purchase for the landscape? It seems like all the trees in these new areas or the bushes are really, from the start not doing well. So it's difficult to maintain something which is not really good to start with.
Taylor Morrison is not the organization that actually plants things. There is another landscape company that's engaged by Taylor Morrison to actually do the install work. So I'll let other people on the board, and in particular, either Jennifer, I guess, or Dawn, to address that.
I have another question, and that's probably is general for all the committees. Why do we, why we cannot work directly with the committee personnel on conveying our concerns or suggestions or questions? Why do we need a gatekeeper? Why do we need to go through somebody to express our opinions? I'm not sure why do we have such a extra step. And since committees represent us, I think we should be able to talk to people on committees with our concerns.
Dawn or Jennifer?
Yeah, might I suggest, this is Dawn, might I suggest that if you have a concern that's really bothering you, that you send it to me, and then I can talk to the whatever committee that it is. Sometimes they'll have guests come in, homeowners come in and sit at a meeting and share, you know, they've done that in the past, share their discussion or frustrations or concerns, and get a little bit of a handle on exactly what the issue is. Of course, if it's a work order, then you would go through me. But if you are specifically requesting a meeting with a committee, I ask that you go through me. We want to give them grace, remembering that they are volunteers. So, you know, what I've been seeing over the past few months is that they're getting bombarded with continual emails and stopping them as they're trying to have their private enjoyment of life. And so that's not really fair to them to have to be expected to be 24/7. So if you have a concern that you'd like to address at their meeting, then please reach out to me and I can facilitate that.
Yeah, Dawn, thanks. I was actually going to say the same thing. Yeah, I mean, they're volunteers. We want all of our volunteer homeowners to have the private enjoyment of the community as well. And that is actually going to be very applicable for your newly elected homeowner board member, Steve. You know, he's not 24/7, you know, and I think what happens is people are out walking, doing their daily evening walk or something like that, and they get inundated. It's okay to have conversations, but don't get mad or be offended if they say, you know, I'd really appreciate if you take your concerns to Dawn. Dawn is not our gatekeeper. She's our main point of contact, and she makes sure that all of our information goes to the correct people, whether that be the board, the committee, the vendors, whatnot. So she's just sort of our facilitator and making sure that things get tracked properly, that we're not like missing things. So, I mean, that's kind of the general thing. And I think about the installation thing, Craig kind of hinted on it. And what we're doing is we're organizing ourselves with a program with your landscaper, with the installer, with myself and the appropriate people on the Taylor Morrison side to do more extensive turnover walks for common areas and front yards. So we can address issues sooner rather than later. And if there's, you know, some planting issues, there's things that can be addressed then. So we're going to be instituting a more in-depth checklist, formal sign-off walk on a lot of those areas. So we had a conversation just about a week and a half ago with the landscape committee and the whole landscape team with Monarch to go over this. So we are actively working on that. And on the TM side, we are talking to our installers. So we are having dialogue. Steve, do you want to add?
Yeah, Jennifer, if I can add to that, it's important to remember that committees are open to the public for the most part. There are portions of committee meetings where it's important to go into closed session to protect the rights of an individual that they're discussing. But the public or other homeowners are welcome to come to committee meetings. It would be good protocol if you would go ahead and call or email Don Wood or the committee chair to let them know that you're intending to come to the meeting. But that's a good time to consider, that's their time to do business and to hear issues. If you want to be in direct contact with the committee, that's the time to do it. And you can find those committee meetings posted on the portal calendar.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Any other questions for Craig and the landscaping committee? If not, you always have the chat function, and we do have a homeowner forum. So just make a little note and we can go there. So that leads us to Mel. I saw you on the communications committee. There you are.
I'm here. Barely, I just woke up from a nap.
I'm jealous.
So there are three other members of our communication committee, and those are Miriam Hewitt, Chris Sather, and Trish Kivett, our newest member. Trish is taking care of that, our Excel list to keep track of the community email list, which we use to send out communication above and beyond, or actually not above and beyond, but kind of less than Dawn does when Dawn sends out to everybody. Our list only sends out to people who have signed up for it, so that you can sign up to get these extra emails that are mostly about fun stuff or, I don't know, things in the neighborhood, some important stuff too. But if it's official HOA business, Dawn sends it. We send other ones that are, sorry, Dawn, more fun. We also do a newsletter every 2 months, which you receive in the mail unless you ask them not to, because it's also posted on the portal. They're all on the portal, all the ones we've done. And we also do a Facebook page. We'll put the PDF of the email or newsletter on there too. What else do we do? Chris Sather does a wonderful bulletin board inside the pavilion, which she has resumed now that it's open. And we also have a new project that we've done. It's called the Ovation Nation Handbook Kit. And it's a do-it-yourself kind of handbook. We put all the parts on the portal. It's in documents in the handbook kit folder. You can download those and print them out and make yourself your own little handbook, and has lots of great contact information. It explains what the committees do. We will be adding to that as time goes along. If you have any suggestions for it, please sure to let us know. That is Miriam has spearheaded that and done a wonderful job. I think that's what we do in a nutshell, as well as field questions from all over the place all the time. That's it for me.
All right. Any questions for the communications committee? All right. Looks like our pavilion chairperson is on vacation, so Kelly is stepping in for the pavilion committee. There she is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi, I'm Kelly Brock. I'm filling in for Bill Smiley. We are on the Pavilion Committee. We have Carol J., who's our secretary, Ed Nugent, Jeannie Reeder, myself, and Patty Shuby. So we take care of the Pavilion. We'd like to encourage all the new owners to use the Pavilion. It's up and running. There are a list of clubs and things on the portal that you can join. but there's always room for new activities. So if you have something that you would like to start, I think our newest one was Bunko. Donna Hartley started that, which is just stupid fun, but welcome to, open to anybody. So if anybody have an activity they want to start, please talk to Dawn or the communication committee, and they can help you get that started. The pavilion is open for private events. We have that's already started. We've got 3, I think, 4 booked. So if you need assistance to set up an event, you can look on the portal or talk to Dawn. She'll help you do that. Talk to one of the committee members. They'll help you do that. It's very easy. There's no charge. You just have to clean up after you use it. Which brings me to our housekeeping services has been changed to only 3 days a week instead of the 6 days a week. So please, we ask that you be good community members and neighbors and clean up your mess. And if you are in the pavilion and you see a glass or something needs to be cleaned up, please do it like a good neighbor. We like to keep that clean. Let us know if there's a problem, but if you see something you can fix, please do that. And if you are using the pavilion and you want to know how to turn on the TV or open the blinds, there is the handbook that Mel just talked about. There's also a 3-ring binder above the microwave that will tell you step by step how to turn on the dishwasher, where to take the garbage, or there are videos on YouTube. I think that Michael Smith was very happy to do that for us, to how to use all those things. So I think that's it. Bill Smiley is on vacation. Have a wonderful time, and he will be back next month. So, any questions for me? Okay, thanks, you guys.
Kelly, I
Thank
got
you,
to say,
Kelly.
I was at the pavilion last night for the first time ever. I attended trivia night. My wife and I had a great time. The pavilion looked great. We lost to my brother, Mike Smith, as usual, but it was a fantastic time.
Yeah, there's all those clubs are listed on the portal, and everybody will be happy to have new members to participate. So please, if you are at all interested, please look and join us. It is a lot of fun. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right, Dawn, do you want to go ahead and
Yeah. I'm
get
gonna
the manager's report? So
scroll on
have
down
at it.
to my manager's report. So the annual calendar and vendor information. The pavilion cleaning service, as Kelly mentioned, we went from on July 18th down to 3 days. We were at 6 days a week. So it's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then they also clean the patio once a week. We have additional pavilion hand sanitizer stations that are set up. The upright bike, many of you know that the upright bike in the Pavilion Fitness Center needed a warranty repair, which was covered by warranty, and Precor Fitness performed that repair on the 26th. The pavilion windows, we have a quarterly cleaning contract with them, and the last time they cleaned was on May 4th. The next cleaning will be in September. The Oak Tree Pavilion handyman pressure washed the walkways and the patios on May 13th. And is fixing the shower seats that are in the showers from the bathrooms on July 28th, tomorrow. The next scheduled pavilion gutter cleaning will be in October. HOA landscaper. Monarch posts updates weekly to the portal, and that's listed under the announcement sections. So we ask that homeowners please check those for weekly updates. I know that a lot of you are really interested in what specifically they're doing, what their projects are, what's happened this past week, what happened the upcoming week, and what's happening in the future. So that's a good place to check for that. And also just a reminder for homeowners not to call Monarch directly or disturb their workers. If you have a work order, then just report it directly to management. You can also do a resident request on the portal, which will come directly to me, and I can turn that into a work order for you. And a reminder to homeowners that as per our contract with Monarch, they do commercial community maintenance. So we can't do trimming that is individual to specification. Management has met with Landscape Committee and Monarch Arborist to discuss pruning. At this time, the pruning will not be changed from the typical pruning that they do. Bug Busters serviced the property in May and June and installed wasp wasp traps around the pavilion and the trail entries. And so just for everybody to know, we don't, the HOA does not spray all over the community. We have those traps because the past couple of years, we've had some real fun with yellow jackets. So in order to kind of, cut that problem down, we have found that putting those traps up by the pavilion and the trailhead entries of the preserve have worked wonderfully. And for those of you who are wondering, these traps do not harm beneficial honeybees. So if you see a nest on pavilion grounds only, call me and I will call bug busters to come out and take care of that. These instructions are under the portal under announcements. And also Mel has been gracious to write some great articles in the newsletters with the same information. The updated annual 2021 calendar is on the portal under documents. And we had the most fun time at the third new homeowner orientation. Each of the committees had folks there that helped me with that. I recorded it and posted it to the portal. So it's under calendar. So you'll find that under July calendar, you'll find the actual video if you want to watch that. It's also on our YouTube page. Management finished age verification project for 2020, but I continue to collect that from brand new homeowners and resales. And then many YouTube tutorials have been completed on the Oak Tree YouTube page. These can be found on the portal. Reminder for homeowners, the Nova office numbers do not accept text. Our phone numbers, our office numbers are through Zoom, so there's not a text at this time. Zoom may eventually add that to the specifications for our office numbers, but they don't have that right now. So if you want to send me a photo, you can email it to me. And then just a reminder, the Oak Tree 2022 budget preparations will begin at the end of August. So I'm working with all the committees and we'll be working on the vendors for that. And then just a reminder, the HOA responsibilities versus non-responsibilities is also posted on the Oak Tree portal under documents, annual disclosures. A reminder that HOA portfolio management is not the same as warranty and or apartment management. And I know that it's confusing. That used to be, that's the job that I used to have was apartment management, and it is different and it is a little confusing, but management for HOA does not make decisions. The board makes decisions. The committees do recommendations to the board for decisions, but I, as manager, do not make decisions. So I know that's a little confusing and I just wanted to clarify that for everyone. And so we do have 218 registered members on file in the portal. And then the reports I sent over to the board were ACC, the notes report, work order, violation, and association reports included for the board. And then if any of the committees or a board needs additional reporting, I can go ahead and get that ready for them as well. I'll turn it back over to you, Jennifer.
Just give me 1 second. I realized I didn't have a number.
Rolling up.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So we'll once again reintroduce our newly elected homeowner, Steve Bay. He's on the top of my screen right now. Steve has been, just jumped into the deep end pretty much the next day after election. So we've been actively working with Steve as a collective. So just once again, just to reiterate, Steve is also a volunteer, and that we really want you reaching out to our main point of contact, Dawn, so that way all of the concerns, questions, communication for the board gets channeled to every member of the board. And that not one board member speaks on behalf of the board. We are a collective, and the three of us right now are a pretty active team. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure it always goes through Dawn. We're just going to constantly sound like a little bit of a broken skipping record on that, but it is really important as we grow, and we're going to be a pretty large community. So we want to keep it clean early on. And so with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Steve because he has something that he's going to speak to.
Yep, thanks, Jennifer. Hey folks, they are keeping me busy. They are training me up, and it is working very smoothly. I feel like I'm well informed, and things are very transparent, and it is a big learning curve, but Jennifer and Karen and Don are very helpful. So look, for my first HOA meeting, I felt it was important to address the concerns many of you have brought to my attention about traffic safety and cars exceeding the speed limit along Oakwood Street. And if you hear that, that's my cat ruining my chair right there. Okay. Well, look, about these cars and the excessive speeding, I can assure you that the board of directors has discussed traffic safety issues like this long before I joined the board. And we have continued to discuss possible solutions since my election to the board of directors. It has been a bit of a learning curve this past month on this issue and many others, but I appreciate the support and the communication that you as homeowners have given me, along with NOVA management and my fellow board members. So regarding speeding and pedestrian safety, the board would like to invite interested homeowners to form perhaps a research group. Get in contact with Thurston County government and the sheriff's office about possible traffic safety mitigation issues and strategies, and then have that research group meet with the board of directors to share your findings. I would ask that the research group consider that the current traffic flow and driving habits that we may be experiencing, well, those will continue to change as our housing development continues to build out and connect to already existing county roads, including a second point of entrance to Ovation at Oak Tree through the McAllister Park community. So if you're interested, please contact the HOA manager through the homeowner portal or by email if you're willing to serve on this research group. Now, let me share with you what my current understanding about the community's efforts have been up to this point on traffic safety. I think it's important to understand that the HOA does not own, control, police, or maintain county or city streets. That makes sense, right? And that any traffic signage or speed bumps must be justified by Thurston County before they're installed. The HOA has requested and received traffic counters at the entrance to Oak Tree at least twice now. And the amount of traffic does not seem to warrant changes from the county. We'll be getting the latest information on the most recent ticker that you saw on our road that was picked up last week. Now, this may change as population grows. Also, the county considers Oakwood Street to be more akin to an arterial road instead of a residential road. And one can see the reasoning behind this, since Oakwood was built without any household driveways like the other streets in the community, that it has a significant lane divider with plantings, and that it directly connects and extends to the arterial of another community. So Oakwood is different. As such, traffic planners may be hesitant to install speed bumps or stop signs, especially when using the same extending street in McAllister Park as an example, where you don't see any speed bumps. And while speed bumps and stop signs may not be justified by the county or may not be found to be widely popular among the majority of Oak Tree residents, I would encourage a resident research group to price out and come up with alternatives such as painted crosswalks or even handheld pedestrian flags installed at troublesome Oakwood intersections. Most of you are familiar with that, where there's a holder in the light post with a flag, and you pick it up and you move it to the other side, or you carry it with you as you cross. It is my understanding that painting words like slow or the speed limit on the pavement of streets is prohibited by the county, but a research group could find out if this is true and see if there's anything we can do. And lastly, I would ask that when you see speeding happening in our community, please do not contact our HOA manager, Don Wood. The sheriff's office is responsible as the authority for this. And the more of us that make reports to the sheriff's office, then the more likely they will be to assign a deputy to patrol our streets. Think of the squeaky wheel getting more grease. Did I say that right? Yeah. Anyway, feel free to contact a specific company when you see a vendor or a construction vehicle speeding. You've got the signs saying who the vendor is or who the construction company is. Sometimes when you get a hold of somebody's manager, that will take care of it as well. And the board will continue to remind Taylor Morrison to help with vendor and construction speeding as well. So I hope that clarifies a few things and allows for people to get involved and find a solution. Thank you. Questions?
I have a not more of a question. This Wendy Plogman, by the way. I do live in Oakwood. I actually would like to address, just to make sure that people understand, don't yell at people in their cars for speeding, because really, and I caught myself thinking like my daughter was speeding and she was actually doing 25. Because when we're standing on a sidewalk, cars do appear to be going faster than what we think 25 is. Thank you.
That's a really good point, Wendy. And I also am concerned with anybody doing something like that, yelling at people or trying to police the street themselves. That can bring risk to you. That should be the department of the sheriff to take care of that. So yeah, watch out for yourself. That was a great point, Wendy.
Mhm.
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Great, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Let's see, landscaping notes and updates. I think we kind of mainly covered that up with Craig's presentation. But once again, yeah, we're working with Monarch. We have a arborist dedicated to our community that is printing out a full report of each tree and what trimming, maintenance needs, those kind of things. So, and just standardizing and actually communicating what the standards are to the ownership as well. So Donald is actively working on that with all those parties involved. That was part of our pretty extensive meeting a week or so ago. That was pretty productive. In terms of the pavilion, like Kelly said, we're pretty active. It's open. People seem to be using it. And, you know, with our ever-changing dynamics of COVID, you know, if things change, we'll be following the Washington State governor's guidelines. So just keep that in mind. And once again, HOA or Dawn will not be policing it. So we'll kind of where we're at right now, we'll leave it all up to you to self-manage and do what's most best and comfortable for you. So yeah, just, you know, I know that there's all sorts of chatter about going back to masks and not what. And so, you know, we're just going to just be following the Washington State governor's guidelines on that topic. So, so once again, Dawn had touched base on the HOA versus non-HOA responsibilities. And I think really what the biggest thing is, I know it's kind of sad to say, but we do not manage interpersonal relationships between neighbors. And unfortunately, we kind of sometimes have gotten dragged in to some situations. So we hope that, you know, there's you and your neighbors find ways to have working solutions for possible differences of opinions and conflicts. But just remember, Dawn pretty much has a full list of what we do and we don't cover. And I know I'd rather have her not read it in detail and myself not read it in full detail. So if you're interested, please check it out. But I think the biggest thing is that we just can't get involved with interpersonal relationships between neighbors. Steve, I see you leaning towards your computer. Are you going to comment? No, okay. It's that lean towards, I'm going to unmute myself. So that's just once again a reminder. And I think Steve did a really good job of touching base on the streets and the traffic issues. So we'll go straight to our Taylor Morrison updates. So even though Karen and I are actually physically in the Taylor Morrison office, we are not privy to everything that goes on in every department. So I did reach out to the warranty manager, and I know there's some frustration on the warranty end about service time, response time of service. We do have someone that's passed background, so they will need to get trained, but there will be, Mike will be receiving some assistance. Probably I would expect to see that person out on site and functioning and being able to help with warranty related items after Labor Day, sometime after Labor Day. So there is some momentum in that direction. So keep that in mind. I would also encourage you, if you have items, try to combine them all on a list and submit one work warranty service request on the home warranty side. This is not HOA. That actually helps Mike and the new person manage your work orders better. I think people think that they're putting in all these individual ones, they're just going to get seen. It actually clogs the system a little bit. So if you can, and if you can remember, we encourage you to put in a couple of items in at a time as opposed to individual as much as you can. It'll help Mike out and help him give you a little bit more timely response and whomever that new person is. So more to come on that after Labor Day for the warranty department. And the villages. So I know that's the burning question always when we meet. So you should start to see some site grading and utility work shortly, sometime after Labor Day. They're gonna start to be very active in that area, which will then lead into some foundational work and the actual construction of the villages. So we'll probably have more of a specific update at the next board meeting because more things will have occurred, and so we'll have a better timeline. I do not have a picture or a vision of all the internal amenities. Corporate's still working through some last minute adjustments and changes to the little bits and pieces of the interior. But based on some feedback Steve provided to us, I think the burning question is a pool. Yes. I don't know the specifics on the size, but yes, there's a pool. Is there going to be a fitness center? Yes. There's a banquet room, which will have sort of a catering style kitchen that will be able to function sort of for like classes and things of that nature and for events for our community. There'll be some outdoor amenities as well. I think a nice seating area, a larger fire pit patio, and some recreational activity, sport court kind of things. Don will have an office for our HOA staff, things of that nature. So as we get that information, just trust me, I would love to see the final version. Karen and I have not seen it yet. As soon as we get it, we're more than happy to share that with you. So more to come, but you're going to start to see some actual serious, legitimate construction shortly after Labor Day. So that's kind of exciting, which also ties into something really exciting that we've talked about. We actually have someone who has been brought onto the team as our lifestyle manager. So we're very excited. And what that means is she's going to, her name is Takara. We'll have a formal meet and greet with her and a formal announcement so you all can come and get to know her and meet her and kind of maybe understand how she's going to be functioning and enhancing our community. She's not taking over existing clubs, activities. That will still remain the same, but she'll be an enhancement to, I think, our community programming. Taylor Morrison has 4 signature events that they like to do through their Esplanade, which is their active lifestyle communities. She's going to help get those started and implemented into Ovation. She's also going to be working with homeowners and the community at large to cater and cultivate activities and events to expand what we currently already are offering through homeowners. So she's going to be a community enhancement for Oak Tree. So we're excited. It's going to take a little bit of time. She actually gets to go to Florida and gets a week-long intensive training on active lifestyle. And then she gets to get training with Nova and get integrated with that. And then Dawn and I and our Oak Tree team will meet with her and get her on board with that before we unleash her to get us active and do more things and really get us going on community engagement. And I think that's what you all kind of really bought into as well when you saw the amenities and the active lifestyle. So we're really excited to be able to bring that sooner rather than later. So yeah, those are pretty much our Taylor Morrison updates regarding those. Did I miss anything, Karen or Steve?
Just a little bit more about the villages, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we went over this, I'd explained that I'd heard lots of questions from homeowners as to what type of exercise equipment is going to go in or what type of recreational equipment goes in and whether or not we as homeowners have any say in that. And I think my understanding of it is Taylor Morrison buys it sort of as a package deal, and we don't have much say as to what goes into it and how we can change it until it's been turned over to the HOA, similar to the Pavilion. Is that pretty much your understanding as well?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I saw Karen.
would it be fair to say that the lifestyles manager coordinator will be most active once the villages are up and running, and that's really where her responsibilities are going to lie mainly?
So she'll actually, we're hoping to get her integrated and more active and maxing out the possibilities of the pavilion and our whatever we have already sooner rather than later. So because there is a construction cycle of at least I think at minimum 1.5 years to complete all of it in full in entirety. So I would at least anticipate 2 years worth of construction for the villages. So we're not waiting for that. We're going to get our rolling sooner rather than later. And just to be clear for those people on the call, Dawn is strictly HOA. Nothing's going to change. She's everything else about the common area, our amenities and whatnot. And Takara's main focus is going to be that wellness, entertainment, activities, events, capacity. So they're going to be very different. Yes, they will work together. We will work as a team, but they will have very different capacities in our community. So, and she is already, that position has already been allocated in our budget. So just keep that in mind as we work on our budget and our budget season. That was already part of our anticipated vision of the full build out budget. Erin.
I'd like to add to that, Steve, that to your point that the homeowners don't have input, that felt a little like an ouch. The Esplanade community of Taylor Morrison is highly researched, and Jennifer would know this, I don't know, but they've got 20, 30, 40 Esplanades around the country, and they are constantly, possibly haven't, I don't even know this, surveyed you in particular, but they've got such a wealth of current residents in all of the Esplanades. We get to take advantage of that. They know what's working. We're going to educate them a little bit about what's working in Florida is probably not going to work possibly in the Pacific Northwest. There are weather considerations, but it's a great, well thought out program. And I just wanted to take a little bit of the sting out of that.
Yeah, they have at least 20 Esplanade communities in Florida alone, and they definitely have branched out into other divisions, especially I think in areas that we typically already associate active lifestyle, like Arizona, warmer climates. So we are the first on the West Coast that they're implementing this. So this is very exciting to be kind of trailblazers on the West Coast for our Seattle and our Portland divisions in the Esplanade active lifestyle community. So Dawn, I can't see the chat. So
Yeah.
do you have anything in the chat?
Well, I think the first question Mel proposed about when the villages was starting and if there was anything that sales had mentioned that there was kind of, I guess, a diagram, but I think you addressed that we don't have that yet,
Okay.
but that we will be starting, of course, construction soon and people will start seeing activity out there. Michelle asked that there seems to be an ant problem on Bowthorpe. And so I'm not aware of that. I would imagine there's a lot of construction. So I know just in talking to Bug Busters about the pavilion, which I would manage common area. So when there's a lot of construction, you're going to see things like bugs and even mice, maybe. I mean, that's all part of construction that things kind of get unearthed. And so I would recommend if you have, I know many homeowners have exterminators. So I would recommend that you have an exterminator if there's something specific on your lot or your sidewalk to your lot. I know that the communication committee has done an excellent job on the portal under newsletters, having standing ovation, which has several vendors that community members have recommended that are excellent. So that's what I would recommend. Kathy Barney asked about update on the employee being hired. And again, we just covered that. She will actually be starting, hopefully, fingers crossed, in August and starting some training again with Nova, getting like her laptop and learning all the like the software that we use. And then she'll be coming and meeting with me so that I can show her the pavilion. And then she'll be going off, as Jennifer said, to Florida, which would be fun in the summertime for a week to do her training. And then she'll be coming back, and at that point we'll be announcing a meet and greet with her and getting her acclimated. So it says, I've got, and this says owner, so I'm not sure who said this, but the CDC is recommending masking up in enclosed public areas, even for vaccinated individuals. Does any of this affect the pavilion? And again, Jennifer did mention that if the governor, does something like closing everything again or making something mandatory, then we are going to go directly off his directive. We are not going to police if someone has a mask. I mean, the police aren't even policing that. So it's kind of hard to manage to run around and tell people they have to wear a mask. But I do ask that everyone be respectful. I know just from personal experience that I have not been sick, knock on wood. I have not been sick at all from masking up. And so I know different people have different varying opinions about that. But certainly the safety of everyone should be collectively our goal. And so if the CDC is recommending that, then I think it's a good idea. Board, your thoughts on that?
I think once again, you should do what's best for you. And if it's a recommendation that you feel has validity and value, then yeah, you should do it. But unless it's mandated by the governor, it's not something that we'll actively be enforcing. So, I mean, I don't want to close down. I don't want to do that.
No.
We'll try to mitigate as best as we can. So yeah, you are CEO of your own healthcare. So do what you got to do.
So next question, is the village is still going to be several separate buildings?
2 separate buildings
2, okay.
that will be adjoined by a covered walkway.
And then I've got a question. Do we know if the villages will have a pickleball court or basketball area?
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb. I've not seen basketball, but I believe I saw pickleball.
And what about a possible performance space? I would imagine that would be for like bands.
Oh, that would probably be the banquet room. It's a multi-purpose large room. I'm just calling it a banquet room, but the intent is if we wanted to have like performances or presentations or productions for the HOA, that would be the space that you would utilize.
Okay. And then Mel had a good point. She says, since we're the first Northwest TM Esplanade community, which is true and exciting, can we educate folks that we have different weather than Florida and Arizona? So as Jennifer mentioned, it will be a little bit different. We are pioneers and this is so exciting, but it won't be exactly the same as Florida, which they can have things year round outside. And
100%. It comes up all the time. And actually I don't know exactly, Taylor Morrison has a lot of funky titles, but she is basically the head person of all the active lifestyle Esplanade communities. Her name's Cammie. She's actually from the Northwest. So she has experience with our climates and our temps and what we can and can't do in terms of outdoor events. So they are very aware that we won't have necessarily the same outdoor amenities and weather possibilities that Florida looks like. So yes, that is kind of a running joke now when we talk about it.
And then Cheryl from the ACC committee just said there are 2 Esplanade communities in California. So for folks that want to do a Google search and kind of check those out and see what they are.
And there are videos of their community buildings. So it might be fun to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty excited.
There already is, there's a toehold here on the West Coast.
Yes.
Good to know.
We're pioneers.
Yeah. And William Lyon also did a lot of active lifestyle in the Southern Cal area as well. So that was we were sort of an extension of that as well. So.
And then I have a question. Will there be a lift for the pool? So for those who are not able to, okay.
That is a requirement, a code requirement.
Wonderful. So Kathy has a good question. Can you give a possible example of an event that Takara might coordinate?
Well, I think, Dawn, as you know, as we went through the whole interview process, it can vary. I can tell you what some of the candidates presented. There was a really, once again, like a paint and sip, which I know marketing, the marketing department did when we were early in our stages of sales. They did a paint and sip. So those kind of, I think I have a feeling that she'll probably want to survey and get a lot of really good feedback and ideas from you as well. So it's not going to just be like, I'm going to dictate an idea and that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a very collaborative relationship. She'll probably take an idea from a conversation and run with it. So it can vary. It can vary for field trips. She can help organize some of the, I know some of you guys have already done like lunches and field trips. And like I said, we'll do the 4 Taylor Morrison annual signature events, which are going to be definitely much more elaborate and detailed. I've seen a couple of previous events, like their announcements, and they're pretty cool. And that'll be something that will translate nationally. Takara will also have the added benefit of she'll be coordinating with all of the Taylor Morrison national lifestyle managers, who are people who are in her position as well. So she'll be getting assistance and she'll be able to run ideas, how to execute things like that. She's going to have a lot of opportunities to generate ideas for activities. So definitely, I think, it'll be a collaborative thing. It won't be, her just think this is what it is. So I'm kind of blanking a little bit, but I think we saw a lot of like dinners and barbecues and paint and sips, but I think that people were just more focused through the interview process of kind of just presenting something in a kind of a now moment. But it could be a musical guest, it could be a comedian, it could be like, I don't know, psychic night or something. I mean, it can be a lot of things. Wellness. I know that Taylor Morrison Esplanade is also big on wellness and having a wellness component in the community, and we're hoping to integrate that as well. And wellness could be, all sorts of things: massage, yoga, meditation, things of that nature. So
what is an example of a Taylor Morrison signature event?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I just kind of addressed that. I don't have specifics off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But I think that's definitely something that maybe after Takara gets her formal training, that's something that we can help flesh out and set a great expectation for that, of what's to come.
Yeah, I'd say it's great to, the questions are coming in, we're getting excited, but let's let Takara bring that out when she's had her training, and Jennifer and I would be stumbling over trying to really the event. So let's let Takara roll that out.
Yeah.
So then Kathy asked another great question. Is she a Taylor Morrison employee or a Nova employee? So she will be a Nova employee.
Are you waiting?
Okay. The next question was just if I'm going to be at the Pavilion tomorrow. So yes, tomorrow I will be at the Pavilion. I will be doing my walk with the amazing landscape committee. We do that for an hour, good hour, walking around. So I'll be back to the Pavilion by 10 if you want to come see me. And that's it for our questions.
Great. And like, we've said before, if you have other questions, just send them over to Dawn and she'll either forward them over to the board or she'll be able to answer them directly, depending on what it is. So I know sometimes we get off the call and you're like, I should have asked that, thought about that. So always feel free to reach out to her. Steve, do you have anything to add before we formally adjourn?
No, I was going to make a joke about the Taylor Morrison event involving hot dogs and beer and a burlap sack race, but that's all I have.
Is that called Field Day?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No, I don't have anything to add.
Great. All right. I know it takes a second to get to the mute button, so I'm awkwardly waiting to see if anyone has anything else or in the chat.
Nope.
All right, if not, I guess we'll go ahead and formally adjourn at 5:05. Our next scheduled board meeting is October 20th. And as we get closer to budget ratification, either we'll be having it at that point or we'll set up a separate meeting specifically for that purpose. So more to come. And it's great to see awesome turnout today.
Yes.
It's good to see more faces. And someone did ask in one of our committee meetings, will we have in-person meetings again? Eventually we will. Eventually, you know, I think we'll see a hybrid. We'll be doing some virtual, some not. So yes, eventually we will be in person at a later date.
I love seeing you guys on Zoom. If anybody needs some help with that or some tips with Zoom, I'm willing to help you guys, give you some tutorials. I love that it's recorded so that you guys can go back and watch it anytime.
Great. And encourage anyone who, you know, missed today's meeting, they can always go and watch it on pretty much probably after Friday afternoon. Dawn gets it on. All right. Well, congrats, Steve, for your first meeting.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
And many more to come.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.